Federal Ministry of Power and its agencies, to the National Assembly, in respect of the defense of the 2025 appropriation for the Federal Ministry of Power and its agencies, which includes the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. We have the MD here. We have the Rural Electrification Agency, REA. The MD is also here. The Nigeria Electricity Liability Management Company, NEMCO. We have the MD here too. The National Power Training Institute, NAPTIN. The DG is here. The Nigeria Electricity Management Service Agency, the MD is also here. To accompany me in defending the budget today are these chief executives of the various agencies, being led by our able permanent secretary, Alhaji Mahmoud Maman, who's right beside me here. I say good morning to this committee of the Senate on Power. I will not take too much of your time in giving a brief description of what our presentation looks like. Without reading it out, I'll just talk to it because I believe we have sent it ahead to the committee, and I want to respectfully take it as read while I just say a few words in 5 minutes. The 2025 budget presentation by the Federal Ministry of Power. Just briefly to remind us of what the key mandate of the Federal Ministry of Power is, which is to engender national development through institution of appropriate policies and establishment of such institutions and agencies that will guarantee affordable, functional, reliable electricity to power our households, our businesses, our institutions, and our industries for national development. To do this, the ministry has what I called the foot soldiers, who happen to be the agencies through which we carry out these activities. I just listed out the agencies, which also include the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, which is NEC. Outside this, we have the power sector operators across all the segments of the power sector value chain, from upstream to midstream to downstream. That's generating companies, about 26 of them, which cut across the hydroelectric power companies, thermal companies, and of late, some of the renewable energy companies. Then we have the midstream operator, which is the transmission, which is still currently solely owned by government, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, which has the responsibility of managing the national grid, which has over 20,000 kilometers of high voltage electricity cables, that's the 330 kV and the 132 kV lines across the country. Hundreds of 330 kV transformers in various sizes from 300 MVA to 150 to 100 to 60 MVA. And hundreds of substations across the country, both the 330, 132 substation and the 132, 33 kV substations. Then we have the DISCOs, who actually manage the distribution segment of the power sector value chain. There are 11 of them presently across the geographies within the country, and another special one established in Abar, which is for the Abaring fence. These are the ones that manage hundreds of thousands of distribution lines across the country, tens of thousands of injection substations, and I would say millions of distribution transformers across the country. These are the foot soldiers of the ministry through which we carry out our activities. Our focus during the 2024 budget year, I would like to say one or two things before we move into the defense of the 2025 budget proper. Our focus was more, number one, on energy access expansion. As we know that quite a huge number of Nigerians still lack access to electricity. As at the last count, we were taking this job up, we had about 41% of Nigerians who lack access to electricity, about 92 million people estimated. Towards the end of 2023, that's about 59% energy access in Nigeria. The majority of the access is actually in the urban and semi-urban centers, while proponents of the rural areas lack energy access. But I'm happy to inform you that during 2024, with the programs of the ministry and its agencies, we were able to establish that the energy access has moved by 5%, from 59% end of 2023 to 64% by the end of 2024. And this is the result of the combination of grid access expansion and increase in the volume and activities in the renewable energy space, which cover mainly the solar access, the small hydros, and wind energy source. How were we able to achieve this? I want to also bring it to the knowledge of this committee that power generation increased by about 30% during 2024 fiscal year. We met an average of 4,100 megawatts of power generation in 2023, and I can tell you authoritatively that by the end of 2024, we had a peak generation of 5,528 megawatts of power from 4,100 that we met on ground. And the reason for this is not far-fetched. We know that we added a new hydroelectric power dam, Zungeru, of 700 megawatts. And also, there was a tremendous increase in the generation by other existing power generating companies, mainly hydro and thermal plants. Jeba recorded improvements, Kanju recorded improvements, Shiroro, Dadinkowa, Kashibila also recorded improvement from 10 megawatts to about 30 megawatts. Then we have Gurara, which is also being worked upon. But with regards to thermal plants, almost all the thermal plants recorded improvements, especially the ones owned by the government, which is the plants under the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, NDPHC, from Olonshogo, Omotosho, Yobo, Sapele, Geregu, Calabar, Egbema, and so on and so forth. So we were able to increase generation to 5,528 megawatts at the peak, even though our target was 6,000 megawatts, but due to some challenges that we experienced towards the end of the year, in terms of grid disturbances, we missed this target by minimal amounts. Then, apart from energy access expansion, we had plans to stabilize the grid and other transmission infrastructure. I'm happy to also inform you that out of the 8 collapses of the national grid that we experienced during 2024, 5 were full collapses, while 3 were actually partial collapses. Out of the 5 full collapses that we experienced, 3 out of them were actually due to generation problems. When we had issues with sudden reduction in generation compared to the power being taken up by the users, which affected the frequency imbalance on the grid. And the reason for this were not far-fetched. The gas infrastructure issue is there. Then we add the SCADA automation issue that is not existent. So out of the five, three was from generation, while two were actually from vandalization problems. And I do not want to overemphasize this because we are aware of what happened during 2024. It was a major issue for the sector. And the major lines were vandalized. And the last one was actually the Kaduna-Shiroro-Mando line, which was one of the two major lines that took power to the north. The second one, which is the Ugwachu-Makodi line, was also vandalized. That was when we experienced about a week blackout to the north. And we immediately rectified the Ugwachu-Makodi-Bauchi line as the only source of power to the north. As I'm talking to you, we have not rectified the major line, which is the Shiroro-Mando Kaduna line, which is why our grid is so fragile, because it's only one line that is still supplying power to the north and is being burdened unnecessarily, and we know the implication of this on the infrastructure technicalities. So it is still the insecurity that has not made us to fix the Shiroro-Kaduna-Mando line, which has been handed over to the security agencies. Till today, they have not even fixed it. So that one is there. So as against the 12 times collapse that they all publicized, it's just about 8 collapses, 5 full collapses and 3 collapses. Out of the 5, 3 partial collapses. Out of the 5, 3 from generation, 2 from vandalization. We have been trying very hard to ensure that we manage the grid that we inherited. Unfortunately, it is still very old, it is dilapidated, and we are just managing it until we are able to fix it permanently, which is the focus of the Presidential Power Initiative, to ensure that the entire grid is revamped so that we won't be having all this vandalization. Number 3 is improvement in our distribution infrastructure. We all know that we strengthened the Band A consumers during the 2024 budget year, whereby we guaranteed about 20